Hello and welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage and today we're going to be having a look at ARWEAVE. Before we jump into the price action, I just want to say thank you for watching. If you are enjoying the content, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button so you are always kept up to date and turn on those bell notifications. Also in the description below you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out. It is free to join. Okay, so let's get into this. So there's a few things I want to start before we go into counts here. So within this structure, we need to talk about this high and this low here. So we do get an overlap here. And because of that fact, we would be thinking of a diagonal. But in this case, we wouldn't really have good structure for that because this, as a expanding diagonal, this wave 5 is too short. And then basically the only other way we could look at it is potentially that this is a 1 into here, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. And then we'd be looking at a diagonal like this. So for the most part, we would have to argue that this is not a 5-wave move unless we look at it as a diagonal like that into these smaller waves here where this becomes a 3, this is a 4, and then actually this is a 5 up into this side. So it is viable, but we'll have to just keep an eye on it. It could also just be that this is an ABC, get a connector wave here, and then we get another 5-wave move. So this becomes a big A, B, and a C, and then that's it. There's no 5-wave structure. So within that, we need to just be a little bit careful how we look at this move, because if it is only a 3-wave move up, these are not as reliable, because it means that it's not a trending move to the upside. It doesn't mean that we can't still move to the upside. However, it becomes less likely with moves that have come up in a 3-wave structure. Okay, so there's a couple of ways that I'm looking at this. I'm going to talk about the macro side of things. So within this structure here, I'm currently looking at this as an X wave. So this X wave could potentially still be going on here. The way that I'm looking at it for the time being is the potential that this is an A, this is a B, and then this is a C. So this is one of the options where actually our X wave is here, which would mean that we would actually be looking to reject now and actually look to take down these low points here at this $6 range. So if we do actually start to break down here, I would be cautious of the fact that we could actually look to push much lower here towards this 146 at a 121, or alternatively that 618 would bring us down here to this 3837. So there's a couple of ways we can look at this. We can either look at it as potentially we're already within that Y wave, and what we are forming is basically this is an A, we're looking for a B wave, and then we're going to look to push down for a C. So we can see that that would actually bring us back down into the support box. So this green support box is just a support range off the bottom of this move up here. So this would be the 618. We've already come down into that golden pocket ratio or area. And we can always look to push down lower towards a 786, or even potentially lower if we go towards this 121. So within this, like I said, we can look at this potentially as an X wave completed here, and then we are starting that Y wave to the downside, and then we'd be looking at something like this potentially. So there's no saying that this B wave is completed, and for the most part, when I'm counting this, it looks like a 5-wave move. So I am open to the fact that we are still looking for something like this to play out as an A, a B, and then potentially a C to the upside. So looking to actually come back up and set a new high here. But really, until we actually take this X wave, we need to just be a little bit cautious. This could continue to break to the downside. So it is possible we're still within this B wave and we're looking for a 3-wave move here. And then we'll look for that continuation to the downside for this C wave that could look to actually bring us to a new low. So we need to be careful of that fact. The only real way um, that you can count this as completed would be saying that basically the X wave was there and the Y wave has completed really short, and it doesn't really fit the criteria here. There's also that potential that we can't rule out. We could see something like this play out where actually, we form something like this as a triangle, and we could see a more sideways move playing out here where we form this as an A, B, and then a C, then we form another 3-wave move, then another 3-wave move, and then we actually look to break down from there. So, this triangle idea is also possible in the Y wave, where we would have to look at this X wave into there then, and we could see this in the opposite direction where we get a Y triangle where this becomes a, B, C, D, and an E, and then it looks to break to the upside. So, we have to give it a bit of space within this. Just this move over here doesn't really mean anything. It could still be a flat. Like I said, this could be an X wave as a flat. We could be developing a triangle. There's a lot of possibilities here. So it wouldn't really make sense for the Y wave to be that short. I'd want to see it at least come towards the 618 zone. Uh, the alternative is, yeah, I mean, you can't really. It's difficult to count it as a five-wave move completed because of this. If this wasn't here, you could then argue that potentially you had a one, two, three, a four, and then a fifth wave like that. We could say that it's a fourth wave as a flat as well, but really it doesn't really it it doesn't really fit that criteria in my opinion. I think it looks neater in this sense, and that this X wave is either not completed or we could have completed into this high and we could already be starting this drop to the downside here. So the alternative thing that I'm looking for here is, and I'm just going over this macro stuff because we're going to go into the micro accounts and then it'll be talking about those moves in a bit more detail. But if we do manage to find support here, it is also possible we could see something like this play out where we see a five-wave move up higher here, looking for this to become an expanding flat, in which case we could actually look to retest some of these zones here, which would be this 1874 up to this 5188 zone. But really, the zone we'd be looking for would be this potential 2741 to this 1921 if we're looking for that potential to break to the upside. Though this would be the key thing on this would be we'd have to hold this low point, obviously, which would be this zone down here of the $6.88 rather. So if we do manage to hold that and we look to go over, we're going to go over that bullish aspect now. But if we do actually push up into these zones, we'd still have to be careful that we haven't just formed a connector wave here, and then we'd actually look to push down one more time. So it's very difficult to count the current move here as a completed move into this. It, yeah, I mean it's not great within it. You could argue a W, X, Y, and then an X and a Z wave. That would be the only other way I could see it. But yeah, I mean, really, the proof's going to be in the pudding. So we're going to go over this move that we've got here, and sort of what needs to happen for us to look for a bullish potential, and what could happen if we are looking for that bearish potential within here. Okay, so let's go into the smaller time frames. Okay, so what I'm looking at here is effectively I'm going to just change this over. Um, so we're going to talk about this. So the way I'm looking at this is currently that we've actually completed this move into this high here. And I'm looking at this as an A, this is a B, and then potentially this is a five-wave move. So this five-wave move could actually be completed into these lows here. And if this is the case, what we could be looking at is basically a flat correction in this spot. And if I just throw this onto here, throw this up into this high point, let's get right on there, can see that we came down towards that 1618 area. So for the most part, we could say that this is completed as a flat, and then we could actually look to move up from this point. If this is the case, would want to hold this zone here of this $8.35. Moving back below that would then make us look for the potential that we actually got some further extension in here that wasn't seen earlier on. And then, we could come back down and retest some of these lower zones. So this 618 would be this 825 to this 803. If we do look to push down one more time, this would be a potential interesting zone. We could see a turnaround. However, if we do lose this lower range here, this 7228, we could then actually look for this to actually start to break to the downside. So we need to just be a little bit careful because I am looking at it as a five-wave move, but there is potentially a way you could count this corrective where you'd subdivide it in the middle here, and this would be an A, B, and then a C wave or basically a WXY rather to the upside, and then we could actually look to break down. And the reason why I'm looking out for that potential is, we have actually been rejected off of this 786 line. So, if we do actually look to break down deeper here and we fail to hold this 7228 area, we could actually look to lose this 681 zone and then actually be looking for this move to break further down. However, if we do hold this support box, then we could see that potential to rally in either an A, a B, and a C to the upside, which if we move down to that 618 would actually look to push up towards this 19053. If we do continue to push up here, then that would be a zone I'd be looking for as a potential target area. So this would be looking at this just as an A, a B, and a C. If we did move up higher here and we had a move that developed into this zone where we get this as an A, a B, and then we had a 5-wave move that pushes up towards this 31.54 zone, then we could be potentially looking for a bigger 5-wave structure here. And that 5-wave structure could then look to push us up into that zone that we talked about earlier, which would be looking at coming up into this area higher up here. Like I said, this would be the typical zone, this 27.41 to this 19.21 zone. But if this did extend up further here, potentially we could look to actually come up and test this 33.92 to this 36.79, which would be that golden pocket. Wouldn't be surprised if we do move up, if we test this zone. Alternatively, if this extends up, we might move up to that 786, but it would it would really overshoot this as a C wave then. But these things can sometimes happen within crypto with expanding flats if they do form. So that's what I'm keeping an eye out. If we do hold this 7228, we can potentially look for this move to the upside. If we start to lose it though, we would have to then start looking at that possibility that, if I just turn this off, we could actually see a move lower down here where this has just ended up being a connector wave within the sequence, as a tricky B wave here, and actually we see a move down towards this 488.6. We don't have enough information though to say that's happening, and we are holding that support zone. So if we do continue to hold it, then we can look for that potential to bounce up. If we do move back up here, we'll have to be cautious that we don't have this extending out and becoming a bigger correction. But if we did have to just break directly down, some key areas I'd be looking at would be this 1-to-1, which would be this $4.88. And then alternatively, this move down here, this 1236, which would be this 3807, which would be close to that 0.618 of that Y wave. And then we could look potentially that this could have actually looked to complete down like this as a direct move. Okay, so within this, like I was saying a second ago, we also need to be aware that this could be extending this move to the downside. It could be becoming a bigger structure. So looking at this as an A, we could still see a move where if I just turn that on, not that one, this one. We could see a move here where we actually become a bit more complicated within this move down, where this flat becomes this orange A wave here. Let me change the color of it, this green A wave here. And then we get this B wave to the upside, and then that continuation in a C to the downside. So if that's the case, we could see that potential to actually come down towards the zone of the 7133, depending on how high we come up here. So I am keeping an eye on this move here. If we just get a 3-wave structure up, we could look to travel into this zone, potentially retest some of these areas. This 50% might be an interesting one. This $10.87, potentially if it's have a swing failure off of there. But we could see a move up into here and then face rejection again for that C wave. So keep an eye on that. If it's just a 3-wave move to the upside, then effectively we could look for this possibility to actually come back down deeper towards a 7.133. And yeah, so the alternative would be saying that we've completed here, but really until we actually take some of these highs, so this high of this 10.768, we need to just be aware that there is that continuation potential here. So these moves can, if we're looking at this as a 5-wave structure down, sometimes what we'll get within these waves is as we're sort of counting them, they'll be extending. So this could then become another 1-2 and then push down for a 3-4-5, and then basically what that would mean is that potentially this would be a 1-2-3-4-5, and then this would sort of extend out like this and look to push down further. So we need to just be aware of that. If we are looking for bullish potential, the key thing from this low point that we currently have would be this 838 zone. We can't cross that. We'd also need to hold the zone of this 8630 area, and we'd be looking for that continuation potential to the upside. So on the 4-hour, it doesn't really look like a 5-wave structure, but if we come down to the smaller time frames, we can see, that you can argue that you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. So for the most part, I am looking to see whether we find support again within this zone, this 896 to this 8630. If we fail to hold this low region, like I said, we would invalidate, well, it would become less likely that we could see this move play out. And what I want to see here, if we're looking for that breakout potential, would be a nice strong move off that 618 towards this 10951 area. Move up there in a nice 5-wave structure would then make us look for that evidence of that 4th wave and that 5th wave to the upside, which could look to push us up towards this 1151 to this 11153 zone. So if we do get that, then we'll be looking for that next phase in confirming that we've got a bigger bullish structure here. And that would be that we would want to see this move retrace and find support again towards this 50% to the 786 region. So this 50% could be quite an interesting one, would be a retest of these lows. Obviously, if this extends up higher, these moves can extend within the waves. I'm just doing it off of just basic fib relationships. If we do get some extensions within these third waves and stuff, it might push this wave higher up and would change these targets. But just based off of these fib areas, if we did have to complete into this zone, what we'd be then looking for is a 3-wave move down and then looking to see if we get further progression, whether that becomes a 1-2 or an A and a B, and then we get the C wave to the upside, and then we would look for that move from there to see whether we actually have that correct structure for continuation of a bigger move. So at the moment, we just need to be a little bit careful. If we do lose that low, it would mean that potentially we are still looking for that breakdown a little deeper. We would have to then argue that potentially this 3rd wave is extending, or this 5th wave is extending out a little bit here, where this would become a 1-2, 1-2. Yeah, I mean, it would be very messy in that case if it isn't completed here, because you'd have to then argue that, you've got another 1-2 here, and it would actually look to push down deeper. So yeah, I mean, if we do push down deeper, these would be the key zones, like I said, that would be looking to hold the 7228. Losing that, yeah, I mean, once we start to go lower than that 786, it starts to become less probable. So if we do fail to maintain this low, keep an eye out on the 618, 605, 703, 702, and the 786. These will be our last sort of fib defenses within this area. And if we start to lose that, we could, I mean, a retest of this low here would be 7165. So keep an eye on that as well. The low of that W wave, that could be an interesting zone. There is some potential structure in that area. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to leave it there. I hope you found the video useful. If you did, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you haven't already, turn on the bell notification so you never miss any videos. Leave us some feedback down below. And also in the description, you'll find a link to Discord. Come check it out. It's free to join. Also in the description, you'll find affiliate links for BYBIT and PrimeXBT, both great exchanges that we use on a regular basis. If you don't have an account with them, using the affiliate link does help support the channel, and we do appreciate it. They are also deposit bonuses. More information can be found through the links below. Check them out. Okay, everyone, have a great day and enjoy your weekend. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.